guys, welcome to Leo season. A Leo season that this year is likely to seem a lot more like actually the polarizing energy, the Aquarius energy, than maybe the traditional Leo energy that we're used to at this time of year. And that is because our new moon in the sign of Leo this year is happening in an exact to the degree, 90-degree angle, square aspect with Uranus, the planet that rules the sign of Aquarius, who is currently located in the sign of Taurus. Now, this is very significant, and this means that we are entering into a period of time right now that is likely to be marked by some type of big, drastic, radical, dynamic change. The type of change that sort of comes through and dumps everything upside down, totally upsets the status quo, but it is for the purpose of fixing some root issues that have taken us way off course from where universe wants and expects for us to be at this point in time. So this is going to be a cycle where the hand of God, divine intervention, cosmic forces are very much intervening in our activities and ongoings, relationships here on Earth, and putting things right. Uranus is known by a lot of names. One of them, in my opinion, happens to be the galactic fixer. Whenever Uranus is involved in a situation, aspect, transit, whatever, things are being put right somehow on some level, and this is silver lining energy. This is blessings in disguise energy. This is energy that comes through and, as I said, can create some chaos, can create upsets, major disturbances, and even disasters. But when the smoke clears and, when the cards fall and the dust settles, it always is for a productive, positive, beneficial reason that leads to some type of outcome that somehow, in some way, means, mechanism, whatever, ends up putting things right and making them better than they were before, more stable, solid, and logical, like making sense, okay, than they were before. Things are being put into a proper, put back in a proper course, in a proper order, in terms of whatever the universal plan is when we have Uranus activated. Uranus energy also rules the future, rules potential, authentic potential, and as a result of that, destiny on some level. So when we have, again, Uranus operating, there's also usually a level of destiny that is involved in whatever is being put back on proper course. So we need to keep those things in mind as we open this report, as we open this energy, this new moon that is going to be unfolding throughout the course of the month. Of course, we know, new moon basics, new moon, this is our seed planting time. This is the time each month when the sun and the moon come together in any sign where we are starting an energetic cycle that will be growing and building and unfolding throughout the course of the next 28 days associated with that lunar cycle, okay? So this is the seed planting time, intention setting, and whatever energy is present for any new moon, this is what is growing over the course of that new moon cycle. As I just said, over the course of the next 28 days. So it's important. New moon videos, new moon analysis readings are kind of significant, as that is the initial blueprint that shows us the direction that things are heading throughout the course of this period of time. And with the new moon itself being in that exact square with Uranus, we know that these are times of dynamic change for the purpose of putting things right somehow. Now, if you guys watched my video for Monday, if you've been following my channel for any period of time, I have been talking about how we have been inching towards this Uranus season that has been sort of pending in the sidelines. And we really began to step into this energy as we opened this week as of Monday. If you guys missed my video for Monday, you might want to watch that as well, because I talked a lot about this incoming Uranus season energy that we are moving towards now generally also. But Uranus, this planet that is an exact square to our new moon, and that also, keep in mind, rules the energy of the incoming age of Aquarius that we are currently transitioning into. What I haven't said yet, which I normally say in the beginning, sort of like in the intro of my daily videos, but sometimes I forget to in my new moon videos, is that on this channel, on my channel, what I'm doing, you know, what we're doing as we're looking at the astrology, doing these new moon reports or the daily reports, looking at energy as it's unfolding in real time, we're also keeping in mind the fact that we are in a transition of ages right now that is very like hot and heavy. Like we're in some very significant portion of that shift that is going to start having some very tangible, palpable results, like in our experiences, and we're going to really start to see and feel that something is changing on these greater and also deeper levels over the course of this next year. And now I really do think moving forward. But in my Monday video, I was talking about how this week is really marking our entrance, I feel, into a Uranian season that is going to be dominating actually for the course of the next 2,000 years. And that is, of course, like the huge big picture of it, but this is how it breaks down. We begin this week with all planets making aspect to Uranus except for the planet Saturn. The planet Saturn rules restrictions and limitations. It holds things back. So even by Saturn's non-involvement in terms of being the only real planet not aspecting Uranus right now, Saturn is still playing a role in letting us know that this Uranus energy is to a large extent unrestrained, and it is impacting and being impacted by all of the other planetary forces at this period of time. So the Uranus energy is really, as of this week, becoming the dominant frequency and influence. And this is only going to accelerate. And that is because, and I did this on Monday as well, but I'm going to do it for today's video also. We have all of the planets, like I said, save Saturn, in aspect with Uranus now, as of this week. This new moon, which this video is talking about today, is, as I mentioned, in exact square to Uranus. And that is not the only exact Uranus aspects that are happening for our new moon, although the new moon itself is forming that exact aspect to Uranus. And we've got a lot, of course, to talk about in terms of the energy for the new moon as it's coming together today. But anyways, we understand, as I just mentioned, that new moons and the energy present for a new moon indicates the energetic fingerprint that is going to be expressing itself throughout the course of that duration of time, throughout the course of that lunar cycle. So we know that we are headed towards a 28-day period that is also characterized by this very, very strong, exact to the degree Uranian influence. Now, not only that, we also have Jupiter and Uranus coming into a conjunction with each other. This will be an energy that takes us throughout the course of 2024. So this means the planet that rules the force of expansion, okay, in the universe is going to be impacting these Uranian frequencies as a major characteristic of the times to come over the course of this next year here, okay? So we're talking about, just to reiterate a little bit, we're talking about a week right now that is characterized by a very dominant Uranus energy. We're talking about a lunar cycle that begins this week that is characterized by a very dominant Uranus energy. We're talking about an upcoming year that we are moving towards that is characterized by a very dominant Uranian energy. Another thing that is happening in this upcoming year that we are moving towards now is that Pluto, the planet ruling power in all of its forms, will be entering the sign of Aquarius. Aquarius is ruled by the planet Uranus. Now, it's interesting, and I said this in my Monday video as well. Aquarius is, of course, ruled, it's a co-ruled sign. There's dual rulers. We have Saturn, the ancient ruler of Aquarius, and we have Uranus, the modern ruler of Aquarius. But Aquarius is a sign about what, you guys? Of course, you know, Aquarius is sort of like the oddball sign, so it's not surprising that it would have two rulers. But Aquarius is this sign about the unfoldment of authentic potential in alignment with universal truth and freedom to like expand accordingly. And it rules the future as a result of that. And so the planet Uranus, I feel like, is more energetically aligned with the Aquarian archetypes that are pulling us forward into the age of Aquarius right now. You know, there is a lot to be said about Saturn as a ruling planet of Aquarius, especially in terms of, you know, some of the more traditional Vedic astrology and using it as like a predictive force in like our personal lives and stuff like that. There is definitely a role for Saturn as a ruler of Aquarius. I'm not saying that he's not, but I'm talking about in terms of more of an evolutionary astrology perspective into things and our transition to the age of Aquarius. It makes sense that Uranus would sort of be like taking the reins, moving us forward, since Uranus is the side of this spectrum that has to do with the future and has to do with the coming into fruition of authentic potential. And that is also a major like theme, concept, idea, archetype of the Aquarian energy and of this new incoming age. And again, Saturn is the only planet that is not involved in the Uranus ongoings right now. And again, through Saturn's avoidance of the situation, that is actually opening the field even more for a stronger and less restrained, less held back, less controlled Uranian frequency to come through. So anyways, all of that being said, back to Pluto entering the sign of Aquarius, this is also going to, this is indicating it takes Pluto 20 years to transit a sign, you guys. So not only, you know, this week are we moving into this energy, which is simultaneously marking a month and a lunar cycle that is involved in this energy that is moving us towards a year with a Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, okay? But Pluto simultaneously entering the sign of Aquarius, this is also like a huge energetic emphasis on the planet Uranus and the Aquarian and Uranian like frequencies and archetypes and themes associated with that. So that is another indication that over the next 20 years, these Uranian Aquarian themes are going to be the dominant forces in a lot of ways in our reality, especially in terms of the transformations and the like deep regenerations and stuff that are happening within the depths of our psyches. Remember, Uranus is also the planet that rules awakening. Massive conscious awakening in alignment with the conscious evolution and an expansion to a universal expansion, essentially, to put things right, to put things back on track, to put things back on an organic, like, process and track of growth moving forward at this point in time. And not only the Pluto and Aquarius transit, which is taking this Uranian energy and making it the major theme for the next 20 years, but of course we are also moving into the age of Aquarius, which is a 2,000-year period, which is ruled by these Uranian frequencies and like the archetypes and themes associated with Aquarius. So it's the beginning of a whole new world, really, that is going to be much more like colored and characterized by the, as I've just said like a million times, the frequencies, the themes, the archetypes, and the manifestations of the Aquarian energy. So all of that in consideration, we need to start familiarizing ourselves with what Uranus brings, what Uranus does, what Uranus feels like, and how we can work with this energy to get the best outcomes as we move through it. And of course, this is just going to be something that's happening naturally also, whether or not we're following the astrology as above, so below. But if we're paying attention, we're likely to start to really begin to notice these shifts now. And, you know, people talk about the new normal. Well, this is the new normal. We're here, and it is going to be a time of expect the unexpected, a lot of unpredictability, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of, you know, things seeming perhaps like chaotic. However, again, it is for the purpose of fixing things on some level, of putting things right somehow. And when the cards fall and the dust settles, everything will make sense. We will have a much greater level of understanding of our own reality, who we are, what our role is, and what we need to do moving forward. That's another thing that this energy is likely to bring. This is some type of mass awakening to the aspects of our reality that we have not been aware of for one reason or another, and the major changes that result as a result of whatever awakening is indicated or happens at this period of time. It is likely to be a time, as I said, of great shakeups, massive changes, disruptions, disasters. Accidents could also have a tendency of being more indicated in energetic fields like this, and we're going to want to stay grounded. This can bring extreme levels of like nervous tension and anxiety and like a palpable sense of like something about to come, like something in the air, and we can feel very on edge. We can feel very just sort of like hard, like just it can be difficult to sleep, and it can be hard to stay grounded, and it can really like fry our nerves and fry our nervous system and stuff like that. So we want to take care, regardless of what happens or how we're feeling or what's going on over this period of time as well, to stay grounded, to take some extra like good care of our health, and to try to keep some semblance of a routine going on for ourselves, even though things may be a bit all over the place. Do not expect, that being said, like plans to go according to plan, schedules to go according to schedule. I would wager that this week, I mean, especially Wednesday around the new moon, but this whole week generally, people have alternative things going on that are not in alignment with their like normal daily protocols and stuff like that. So this is just a time of the strange, the bizarre, the unusual, but also this enhanced sense of awareness. We are also, I will tell you guys, when there's a strong Uranian influence going on in the energetic field, we are very sensitive, okay, to energetic fields generally, to fields of consciousness from other people around us, and our spidey senses are turned up significantly when we have all this Uranus energy going on. So another thing that I'm sort of advising before we even really get into the details of this new moon is to pay attention to, you know, the signs and signals that your body is sending and picking up on, and, you know, things that flash into your mind, and like just intuitive hunches and stuff like that, because this energy, again, like I said, we are in a time of change. We are in a time of transition. We are in a time of conscious awakening and evolution. And part of that process is like this like sixth sense. I talked about this in my report for Monday as well. Like this sixth sense that we all have, that humans inherently have, but that may have been very like latent, or we may have like been very detached from the sensations associated with it, coming back online, being recalibrated. These energetic antennas that we have via our vagus nervous system, which is a huge part of our ability to like sense our surroundings and stuff like that, which a lot of times, you know, we're unaware of, or we don't pick up on necessarily consciously, but like we're doing it unconsciously. This is highly attuned, even more so, to like the energetic fields and frequencies and fields of conscious awareness and stuff like that, like I said, when we do have this Uranus energy activated. So tuning into yourself, paying attention to feelings. If your spidey senses are picking something up, like don't ignore it, because universe is putting things right. If you get an intuitive hunch that you need to do something or to go somewhere, or, you know, this is also Uranus, also, it's the galactic fixer, brings brilliant solutions. Like this is also like the heights, okay, of inventiveness and of mental brilliance, and of an inability to sort of receive some type of flash of insight or like sudden download or epiphany, where we just have the answers, we see the blueprint, like we know what needs to be done, and like we like consciously, tangibly like know what actions, or are prepared to take the actions to implement also some of these changes. Another thing we'll talk about as we get through this report is it's not just the new moon that's in square to Uranus. We also have Mars and Mercury in basically exact trine to Uranus as well, which is telling us that whatever changes, whatever disruptions are happening, this solution is also available to us, again, to receive in some type of flash of brilliant insight perhaps, and to have the motivation or the know-how or the ability or the energy within ourselves to implement it and to make it happen. huge blessings coming through this cycle, you guys, but also, you know, again, could be some type of calamities that precede them in order to shake us out of some type of situation that we haven't been able to move ourselves from some reason, for some reason or another. Again, Uranus energy to me is like both the tower card in the tarot, but simultaneously the star card. It's like this awakening and this inspiration and this inner divine knowing, okay, and putting things right and making sure things are unfolding according to the, you know, the highest possible divine potential. However, if we for some reason are stuck in some type of tower, be it mind, body, or spirit on some level, that is preventing us from doing what needs to be done in order to receive the star energy, there's got to be a tower that comes down, and in order to get that tower to come down, there may need to be some seemingly destructive or disastrous occurrences that happen in order to shake things up enough so that we will make the changes. And, you know, as someone who is very, very Uranian dominant myself, like, I can't say that I always love the approach of Uranus. However, I can say that at the end of the day, it's always worth it. Okay. And we got to keep that in mind. And when we get to the end of this report, I'm going to give you guys some affirmations that I feel like will be very, very helpful as we go through this, because I don't want to just, you know, say, hey guys, season of expect the unexpected and everything is about to change. And, you know, the very ground that we are standing on, the very foundation of our reality could be drastically altered coming up here within the next days, weeks, months, years. But sometime, you know, we are in the times of massive, epic, dynamic change. I don't want to just be like, go and enjoy it. So there are some affirmations that I work with myself in terms of these Uranus energies, and I'm going to let you guys know about them as well, because I feel like they're very helpful in reframing reality in a way that actually helps us to move through this Uranus energy in a way that is conducive to stabilizing our experience and showing us how powerful we actually are to create our reality, as opposed to feeling like we're just at the whim of the universe right now and kind of like holding on for dear life. So I've got that coming for you guys as well. But there's other things that I need to say, okay? I can't just talk about Uranus the whole entire time, because this also happens to be a new moon in Leo that is in a only 1 degree orb off conjunction to the black moon Lilith. And this is adding another very interesting dynamic to how this Uranus energy is playing out, because the black moon is what? This is our shadow side issues. This is our fears, worries, insecurities, doubts. This is the unhealed trauma within us that creates these subconscious programs that keep us trapped in self-perpetuating cycles of self-sabotage, because we're constantly like on autopilot trying to either respond to or avoid or like neglect to address these unhealed wounds within us, and we're projecting outwards, and it can just keep us in situations where we're never really happy and we're facing the same circumstances over and over no matter what we try to do. And even though we're consciously like trying to do other things and fix ourselves and like, you know, straighten things out for us, it's like these subconscious programs, these faulty algorithms that have developed deep within our psyches as a result of childhood trauma or unhealed wounds or, you know, betrayal or this, that, and the other, that has created these complexes that actually continue to attract the same scenarios over and over to us until we are able to gain the level of conscious awareness into those shadow side aspects of our nature, into the depths of our own psyche and soul, into, you know, the little crevices where those unhealed wounds hide, shine the light on them, and actively begin to heal those situations. That is the only way that we can release ourselves from these cycles, that we can reprogram our subconscious minds to detach from, you know, those experiences and move forward in a way that we are consciously creating, attracting, and magnetizing to ourselves that which is a true reflection of our heart and soul, in alignment with, you know, the divine vision of who we can truly be, and not just a mirror image of our subconscious trauma and where we've been broken coming to us over and over again, so that we can hopefully finally go through enough BS that we finally gain a greater level of awareness, and as a result of that can, do the healing thing. That is the whole purpose of the black moon energy. But in the sign of Leo, it has a lot to do with a distorted ego, okay? And what we are willing to sacrifice, what aspects of ourselves we are willing to sacrifice in order to receive some type of love or fame or power or wealth, or where we also betray the loyalty to that, like to our own personal creative self-expression in order to obtain or maintain those things as well. With a new moon in Leo, remember, Leo is the sign of the sun. This is the sign of the light. This is our vitality. This is our life force. Like, this is our character and our spirit and what makes everything grow and thrive in a conjunction with that which rules the shadow and that which would prevent that process from happening as a result of this faulty programming from these unhealed wounds that we are unaware of, that is actually holding this incredible power over us. See, that's the thing with the black moon energy, you guys. Before we're conscious of how it's operating in our psyche, it is actually the most powerful, and dominant force within us in terms of how we're experiencing reality. And in order to take our power back and begin to, like I said, break ourselves out of these cycles and begin to attract and magnetize and live experiences and circumstances and relationships that actually do provide a greater level of fulfillment and support for us and, becoming who we're truly meant to be. We can't do that if we are operating from a state of unconsciousness about our own shadow side issues. And as we move into the age of Aquarius, that is one of the things that primarily has to be eliminated. This is an age of self-knowledge, self-understanding, self-mastery. None of those things we cannot rise to any of those places energetically, which is the anchor frequency of the age of Aquarius, if we are still operating from these these faulty algorithms, from this unhealed trauma that is influencing our subconscious programming, that is keeping us trapped in these cycles, that is preventing us from going through this process of self-actualization, going on our hero's journey, which is going to be a major part of this next year and a half, with the North Node now transiting the sign of Aries, coming into a conjunction with Chiron. It is time, you guys. Massive change is upon us, and this is the time to step into our leadership era. We're being called to activate our destiny collectively, and we've got to awaken to that. And that is the energetic push, one of the major energetic pushes with this new moon, and with the black moon being so heavily right there in alignment with everything. A lot of this is going to have to do with what? A lot of it's going to have to do with us awakening to the darker sides of our own nature and having an ability over the course of the next 28 days while this lunar cycle goes on, and this awareness grows as the light of the moon grows throughout the lunar cycle. We gain this sense of illumination about our own shadow side issues and awakening to what, you guys? The solutions, because we have a galactic fixer operating. This is going to have a lot to do with our attitudes, our behaviors, our lifestyles, our habits, our routines. Major lifestyle shifts and changes are being extremely supported. This energy is also extremely supportive of new mental frameworks, new perspectives, mental attitudes, coloring the way that we are relating to and interacting with our own daily lives and experiences, that are also going to be undergoing some type of drastic, dynamic, fundamental change. If you've been waiting to make some type of change in your lifestyle, in your habits and routines, and your self-care, diet, nutrition, exercise, any of that, this is the time. New beginnings that happen right now, especially along the lines of taking back personal power regarding our own health, regarding our own understanding and relationship to knowledge, facts, information, and what we're doing with that, our perception of reality. If this is a common experience that you're dealing with, you are right on track, and this is what universe is calling for right now. So that being said, all of that being said, I can't not say that I feel like the dark side of things may be very illuminated for us over the course of this next period of time as well. The dark side specifically of things and the ugly side specifically of things having to do with fame, wealth, power, and it's likely these things are likely to be exposed in shocking or unexpected ways. Also, money, finances, assets, resources, and specifically partnerships that have been going on as well. Could gain some type of prominence. Okay, we're talking about the sun and the moon in a 1-degree orb conjunction to the black moon in the sign of Leo. This is going to bring up the ugly side, like I said earlier. What people have been willing to sacrifice for wealth, fame, power, prestige, influence, admiration, notoriety. This is energy where the public, right, the general population, the collective, with it being Uranus, Aquarius, may gain a greater understanding of the ways that perhaps people at the top of the pyramid have sold their soul to maintain levels of wealth, power, celebrity, elite status, stuff like that. Like there could be some dimension of something along those lines that is very relevant, and we're seeing on kind of like a world stage type level play out over this period of time. Now, I do also think that there could definitely be a level of ruthlessness that unfolds as this energy plays out as well. And I kind of feel like this is a fight to the death type of energy. Freedom or no return. Like I kind of feel like those are the stakes, and that's sort of what we're up against. And we could see like scenarios with these themes playing out as well. I also think that this period of time is marking a resurgence of divine masculine spiritual warrior energy. I think on an energetic level, my opinion, what Aubrey thinks based on the way that these aspects are coming together, I think that the divine masculine energy is coming through and is swinging the sword of justice in a lot of ways. And I think that there is going to be a powerful, benefic, masculine force that is not willing to back down. And again, that is engaged in this like fight to the death, fight for freedom type of vibe. And one of the reasons why I'm saying this is because I told you guys that Uranus is an aspect to every single planet besides Saturn. And the fact that Uranus is not aspecting Saturn, again, that means that there's no holdback on the flow of this Uranus energy, because Saturn controls, limits, restricts. With no Saturn influence, there is nothing to restrain. Nothing can stop what's coming. Okay? Like that's this type of energy. And one of the aspects, a couple of the way that the planets are coming into alignment with each other is creating a grand trine in earth signs. Now, this is not exact. There's a few degree orb between these planets, but it is very close. And I feel like it is a powerful force in the field right now as well, which is indicating this resurgence of masculine energy based on some enhanced level of awareness that is like taking the reins, and that is not that will not be dominated anymore. I guess we could put it like that. And that's because we have in earth signs. Now, when things are happening in earth signs, things are happening on the ground. This is things transpiring in our 3D reality. Mars with Mercury there as well in the sign of Virgo, Pluto retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. This is the breakdown of the 3D reality from the past and the power and control hierarchy structures and dynamics that have maintained orders of power and control for long periods of time. And then, of course, Uranus in the sign of Taurus. This has a lot to do with awakening to value, resources, and potential, and how we're using them and how they've been used, okay? So with Mars and Mercury in the sign of Virgo, this is information that has us on fire, not backing down from a fight, and like verbal combat also being used. This is, the pen is mightier than the sword type of energy also. And then Pluto retrograde in the sign of Capricorn, breaking down, like I said, the matrix of the past and the rulers associated with it. And then, of course, Uranus in the sign of Taurus as a result of an awakening to the truth of like value, resources, worth, potentials, what's been going on with money. Like, it's all to do with finances, money, abundance, food, resources, partnerships as well. So with these 4 planets in aspect with each other, being one of the dimensions of the Uranian energy that is present for our new moon, again, I feel like there is a resurgence of masculine energy that is going to be the force that universe uses to implement, okay, these fixes that are underway. Lifestyle changes derived from taking back power. Like I said, major indications associated with this, and good luck keeping anything hidden throughout the course of this cycle. With the black moon, new moon alignment that we have going on in the sign of Leo, in the sign of the sun, over this next 28 days, like I said, the light of our conscious awareness and our unconscious awareness as well is going to incrementally grow and expose layers and shadows that have been existing within our own psyche or within the world around us, especially, again, these more like elite-based, entertainment-based, celebrity, ruling class, wealth, power, all of that, exposing something to us that is growing throughout the course of this next 28 days. With Uranus there is likely to be also themes having to do with upsets to positions of power, people in positions of power, ruling class, celebrity statuses as well could really undergo some type of upset, high profile partnerships, financial agreements, resources, assets, things also to do with children, early childhood, also education, health and healing in the medical industry with the Virgo influence, Mars and Mercury in the trine as well. There could be some very great, also, I mean, I can't, like, this energy is operating on so many octaves. Like, on one hand, it's going to expose where things have gone wrong. But on the other hand, it's going to bring in solutions to be implemented to fix where things have gone wrong. So while on one hand, things are likely to be like crumbling and falling apart suddenly, again, there is this brilliant, inventive force that is simultaneously coming through, that is going to be providing a lot of solutions to things that may have otherwise seemed like they had totally met their end somehow. So it should be interesting to see what comes along those lines. We want to be very careful. We want to slow down. We want to pay attention. As I mentioned at the beginning of this report, we want to trust our hunches. Also, upsets to the status quo, upsets to comfort zones. Like, this is something that I would perhaps be expecting or anticipating on some level, because we're talking about Leo new moon. This also has to do with like games and sports and entertainment and parties and celebrations. If you're planning a party over this period of time, if you've got like sports games or something as well, don't necessarily think everything's going to go according to plan, but we want to be very adaptable. And what we need to keep in mind, as I've sort of stated at the beginning, and I will continue to state as we get through this, we need to really just have faith in things, the higher plan that is unfolding right now, because even though things may seem disorienting or chaotic or unstable, they are leading to something that is putting us in a better place and that is actually putting things back together in a better way for us somehow. So this could definitely bring upsets, like I keep saying, and events that suddenly change our plans or our circumstances or our environment. Be careful with fire, you guys. Electricity also for sure. Take extra care driving, nervous tension, anxiety, as I mentioned earlier, and like this maybe palpable sense that something is just about to happen could be just making us feel a little jarred or be a little bit off-putting as well. And again, we are hypersensitive to the energetic fields of other people and whatever vibrational fields we find ourselves in. So something to keep in mind. Again, trust your spidey senses in this energy. Do not attach to appearances. Expect the unexpected. Be prepared for anything. Things and people are probably going to be really strange over this next, I want to say this next couple of days, but really it could very well be just this next phase, okay, that we're going through. And there could definitely be unexpected breakdowns going on, like a car breaking down or appliance breaking down or something like that, breaking down, something to do with like a house or assets or resources something happening as well, or a sudden argument, or like an unexpected separation from someone. This is also something that is very indicated in this energy, because Uranus is bringing sudden disruptions, sudden change, sudden endings. We also have to keep in mind that Venus is currently retrograde, and Venus is ruling the position of Uranus. So a lot of these changes, like there could be some things from the past also that are coming back up in a very shocking or surprising way, that are changing us somehow, or that are changing our situation somehow, or that are requiring some type of, I don't know, like closure or reversal even. This is a season of reversals also being indicated, the way that this Uranus energy is coming in, and us also heading towards retrograde season, which will really come into fruition as we near the end of August. So all of that, Uranus also brings this desire for spontaneity, to break free, to liberate ourselves from something. You may find yourself just not being able to get into the flow of like the normal humdrum, and like really feeling like you need to do something, spontaneous, or something a bit impulsive, craving excitement, craving freedom or liberation on some level, desire to feel alive, to celebrate, to just like have fun and feel reinvigorated by life. Like that is another thing. People could be seeking experiences that make them feel alive and bring them back to life on some level as well. And that could also be very incorporated in whatever changes are playing out on these greater levels right now. Ugly truths also being exposed. When we have a black moon, new moon, like there is a level of the shadow that is emerging, and that is going to gain a creeping level of awareness, like I've been saying, over the course of this next month. Big surprising news that facilitates a masculine response. I also feel like as a result of this trine in earth signs with Mars, Pluto, Uranus, also Mercury, kicking ass and taking names, you guys. If you find some men in your life feeling inspired by that type of energy, give them a pat on the back, because that is what universe is calling for right now. There are times for the feminine energy to shine, and there are times for the masculine energy to shine. And this is one of those times where universe, at least in my interpretation, again, what Aubrey thinks, seems to be ordaining the divine masculine to take control of the situation and put things back on track. Slaying by any means necessary in a way that results in freedom, authenticity, truth, and removes distortions and inversions from the proper trajectories of growth and evolution in alignment with the cosmic blueprint, our transition into the age of Aquarius, and humanity's collective hero's journey and process of self-actualization that is the preliminary requirement in order to move energetically towards this new paradigm. So we're getting it in gear, you guys. And like I said, we may really be getting kicked around in this energy, but if so, we need to keep in mind that everything is working for our highest and our best, and not allow ourselves to be swayed or eluded from that ultimate truth in this energy. This, again, could also have to do with things from the past. Venus retrograde is square Jupiter in the sky, and is also, therefore in a loose square to Uranus, and Jupiter actually is moving into conjunction with Uranus, which is something that I talked about in the beginning. Another one of these indications of our Uranus season that is carrying us through the next 2,000 years. But reversals, closure, old relationships, making a surprising splash in some type of way for some reason, and also reevaluating what we want, reevaluating what we desire, who we love, what we value, what we prioritize, what we find beautiful, reevaluating our own internal value, our own self-worth, us falling back in love with ourselves because we are awakening Uranus in the sign of Taurus to our true potential, to our true value, to our true worth, to these resources and the potential within us that we are realizing now it is time to tap, it is time to develop and cultivate, so that we can begin this pursuit back in alignment with our authentic truth and coming into our full potential and activating destiny and going through self-actualization. Everything that is required in a requirement energetically of us to create this translation of ages, because as above so below, humanity is the anchor of the new frequencies of the age of Aquarius. And the more of us that can go through this process and come to embody these Aquarian frequencies, it you know, like we anchor that energy into this reality. And then as that extrapolates and as we become more and more and more weighted by the frequencies of the future instead of the frequencies of the past, we shift more and more, and our transition becomes more and more palpable to us in our 3D reality. And we are moving in that direction. I'm telling you guys, 5 years, give it 5 years, and we're gonna know that something big has happened and we are no longer in Kansas, okay? Like that's the trajectory, I would say. And I do feel that from now moving forward, we are about to see major cracks emerging in the fabric of our reality, and the new reality, or maybe the reality that has always been but was distorted to us somehow, is going to begin to shine through. And like I said, this is, you know, this is the new normal that we're moving towards. We will now begin to notice these changes tangibly, and these are huge moments. These times that we are in, like, are not to be taken lightly. Yeah, everything is real crazy all over the world. Everything is real wild, as it should be expected to be in the heat, okay, of a shift and transition of ages from the age of Pisces into the age of Aquarius. And humanity begins to gain and begins to go through the process of gaining a truer and a greater and a more authentic understanding of our own reality, of our own potential, and of our, you know, true purpose. Divine masculine energy calling the shots, like I said. And it's like this is the vibe. It's like dad just got home and now you're all in big trouble and there will be consequences. Like, that's sort of the vibe that I feel coming through with all of this masculine energy that is equipped with getting things right and putting things back on track. So it will be interesting, like I said, in probably some ways that we can't even anticipate how things are going to be playing out. Let's talk about some symbolism now. For those of you who are new to my channel and don't know about the Sabian symbols, what they are is a group of symbols that describe each and every one of the 360 degrees of the zodiac. Whenever we have a planet at a certain degree point making an aspect, I like to look at the Sabian symbol because, to me, it gives us a greater symbolic, intuitive understanding, layer of interpretation about what these aspects are really about, and perhaps, you know, how they may be manifesting and what we can expect from them. I'm always reading symbolism in association with the aspects and transits. So I want to look at the Sabian symbols, and they are balls wild also for this new moon in Leo. They're so telling. So without further ado, the first symbols that I want to talk about are the symbols of the planets in the grand trine with Mars, Pluto, Mercury, and Uranus in these late degrees, 20 degrees of Earth signs. So we have Mars currently at 23 degrees of Virgo. That Sabian symbol is a lion tamer, rushes fearlessly into the circus arena, which is very interesting because we're in Leo season, right? Leo is the lion, symbolically ruled by the lion. And we're talking about Mars at the degree about a lion tamer fearlessly rushing into the circus arena. So with Mars at that position, and Mars, this is the masculine energy, right? First of all, we're ready. This is a masculine energy that is prepared to conquer any fear that is necessary in order to protect, okay, or in order to defend from something, even be it some type of ferocious beast, okay, even be it our own ego or our own, with the black moon there, subconscious programming that perhaps keeps us in ego projections as a result of like a wounded ego or a wounded inner child. So there is something with Mars simply at that degree, I feel like, that is talking about us conquering the beast within or the beast without in some way. Now let's move on. The position of Mercury, 20 degrees of Virgo, a caravan of cars headed for promised land. So where are we going in this process, you guys? Where is this process of conquering this beast or the beast within, or our own selves, or, you know, what we've been fighting externally, or our own fears, gaining a level of confidence? Where is this taking us? It's taking us Mercury. Mercury is a planet that also rules movement and travel. A caravan of cars headed for the promised lands. It is taking us to the promised lands. It is taking us to a better place, okay? Standing our ground, standing up for ourselves, conquering whatever challenge that we face, even if it's a daunting one. This is taking us to a much better place. Now, the position of Pluto, 29 degrees of Capricorn, a woman reading tea leaves. We are gaining some insight, and this could be coming honestly through an intuition or an awakening to something or spiritual guidance or divine intervention or some type of inner knowing. But there is something that we are gaining an awareness of that is helping us or giving an awareness of or giving us the courage and strength to overcome something that is moving us forward towards this promised land, okay? And then lastly, we have Uranus, 24 degrees of the sign of Taurus. And I could not believe it when I realized Uranus was going to be at this degree, because this degree to me is one of the more notorious degrees of the 360 Sabian symbols. This is one I always know and remember. This is one of the most ruthless degrees of all of them, okay? And with Uranus being here for this new moon in Leo, that is to me the bridge into the age of Aquarius, that is sort of the launch pad of the next 2,000 years, that is the entrance into Uranus season at this specific degree. It's by any means necessary. Okay, let me read the degree. 24 degrees of Taurus, an Indian warrior riding fiercely, human scalps hanging from his belt. One of the most gruesome, ruthless, violent degrees of all of the Sabian symbols. And with Uranus being in the trine with Mars and Pluto, okay, this masculine energy, this ruthless force, transformative force, regenerative force, but Uranus is freedom and Pluto is death, okay? And then we've got Mars the warrior with Mercury. Okay, that's why I said, things could get a bit ruthless. People could be willing to take it all the way to stand up and fight for what they believe in, to stand up and fight for their right to be free to acknowledge whatever reality is emerging at this time, okay? And on the flip side of that, Pluto retrograde, the fight as well to maintain the power and control of the past that seeks to suffocate and strangle these new emerging frequencies that are coming in to bridge us into the age of Aquarius. The battle of, it's like the epic battle of good versus evil, dark versus light, simultaneously being represented in this trine, which is an earth signs, which is physically happening in our world. Mercury and Mars in the sign of Virgo. This is like, gotta get the context, the information. Mercury's strong in the sign of Virgo as well. This is news, this is headlines. Again, lifestyle, routine, health, healing, medicine, education. I don't know, you guys. Virgo is also about like reaping what you've sown. The sign of the harvest is also a very financially oriented energy. So with Uranus at that degree, like, we're riding, you guys, and we're taking back what's truly ours with little regard for, again, like the destruction that may exist in the wake of the personal power that needs to be taken back. So with those being the symbols associated specifically with Uranus, but also Mars, also Mercury, but Mercury, where are we heading? To the promised lands. So yeah, we may be taking some scalps off in the process, but it's ultimately leading us all somewhere much better. And again, the lion tamer, like, it requires the courage. Like, we got to have confidence. We got to believe in ourselves, but we're rushing forward. We're not hiding from it. Interesting. Now, those aren't the only symbols that I want to talk about. I actually wanted to mention the positions of the moon and the sun, as well as the north node also, because for as gruesome perhaps as those symbols may seem and appear, we have hope coming through on the flip side of things as well. Now, the position of the new moon itself, 24 degrees of Leo. And I should say, whenever I'm reading Sabian symbols, whenever we're looking at Sabian symbols, we always round up a degree. We look at the wave of energy that's coming in, not the wave of energy that's going out. So with the new moon itself happening at 23 degrees, 17 minutes, sorry I didn't give you guys the basics. I just got so caught up in the Uranus energy that I forgot to say new moon is happening August 16th, 2023 in the sign of Leo, 23 degrees, 17 minutes of Leo exactly. So we're going to be looking at the Sabian symbol for 24 degrees of Leo in determining the symbolism associated with this new moon, but it's also happening at 5:39 a.m. Eastern time. So there you go. There's the details. But anyways, that Sabian symbol associated with the new moon, 24 Leo, totally concentrated upon inner spiritual attainment. A man is sitting in a state of complete neglect of bodily appearances and cleanliness. So this is talking about a huge emphasis coming through. This is like, again, with the black moon connection and the Uranus dimension of things, the awakening, this is like us being very caught in our inner world in a way that is really revealing something significant to us that may have us actually like neglecting aspects of the material world in a way that we hadn't in the past. This could also be like again, with Venus retrograde, like reprioritizing what it is that we value and what we're using also, you know, our time and energy on, with the Mars lifestyle, Mercury situation, habits, behaviors, changes going on as well, with Mercury, Mars, and sign of Virgo. So I find that to be a very interesting placement for our new moon. The Earth, which is the polarity point to the new moon, is at 24 Aquarius. That Sabian symbol is a man having overcome his passions, teaches deep wisdom from his experience. So this is the energy indicated by the Earth, what's happening on the ground as this new moon plays out. So again, as we gain this greater sense of illumination over the course of, you know, this next 28 days, as our new moon cycle plays out, there may be an element of wisdom through experience that we are also gaining or tapping into that is helping us to conquer or to overcome maybe some of these self-sabotaging, lower instinct-based things of the past, okay, with the Earth at that degree. And we also have the north node of the moon, the destiny point, where we're going, where we're growing, the next unfolding phase of growth and development, happening in a very interesting degree, 27 degrees of Aries right now. And that Sabian symbol is through imagination, a lost opportunity is regained. So ultimately, you guys, with the north node being at this position for our new moon, where we're going, right? Like, what is the purpose ultimately in terms of like the destined dimension, the North Node ruling destiny of what's playing out right now? Through imagination, a lost opportunity is regained. The galactic fixer at work, we've come full circle. The position of the North Node is telling us exactly what's going on. Things are being fixed in such a way where we are being put back on track to regain opportunities that may have been lost to us in the past, because we may have gotten so far off track from our true purpose, potential, and the destiny that needs to be activated, the mission that is before us right now, that now we require some type of universal push in order to get back on track and regain those lost opportunities that are required in terms of our growth, our forward movement, and us aligning with our true potential at this period of time. Because remember, we are talking about the north node of the moon at that degree. The north node of the moon is now transiting the sign of Aries. This is a 1.5 year North Node transit where we are all being called into a leadership era in our own lives and experiences, and we are all being given some type of divine mission that we need to accomplish over the next 1.5 years. North Node transiting the sign of the pioneer, of the warrior. There is some mission that needs to be undertaken, and it's in alignment with our soul growth and activating destiny. So lost opportunities you regained, you guys, the galactic fixer at work. And again, things are about to get wild. So we are buckling down the hatches. We are keeping our hands and arms inside the vehicle. And now let's talk about some of these affirmations that I feel like will be helpful to us as we're going through this energy. Now, again, these are my personal affirmations. I am a big fan of Florence Scovel-Shinn. I don't know if any of you guys are familiar with her work, but I highly recommend The Game of Life and How to Play It. I think it's a tremendous instruction manual for our interaction connection with our reality. And I feel like a lot of her teachings that were originally came into being in the early 1900s are very, very relevant at this point in time. And these affirmations come from her work, but I find them to be very effective. And so I've got 5 of them for you guys, and I hope they help you as much as they have helped me dealing with Uranus energy in the past and current and future situations. But everything is now working for me according to my highest good. Affirm it. Believe it, because it is honestly true. That is what Uranus does. That is what Uranus brings. To be operating under any other mental framework is to be deluding yourself in this energy. So regardless of appearances, everything is now working for me according to my highest good, and it is. I am in the hands of God, and I know therefore I am protected. There is nothing that can touch me, and everything is working in my highest good. So again, despite appearances, I rest assured that I am safe, I am protected, and no harm can truly come to me. I am in the hands of God, and I know therefore I am protected. Man's will is not and never will be more powerful than God's will, and God's will, thine will be done, right? So there's no need to fear a man or the ongoings of man or the laws or the rules or the injustices that may appear to be simultaneously playing out right now, because man's will is never more powerful than God's will. And we need to remember that, despite things that may try to convince us otherwise at this point in time. Every man is a golden link in the chain of my good. This one to me is priceless, because when we realize and when we can come to the understanding that even the situations and the people and the relationships that seem to be dead set on like our true demise, or like literally create nothing but problems for us in our lives, if we can reframe those relationships in terms of the truth that every man is a golden link in the chain of my good, then we can come to understand that despite appearances or annoyances, there is ultimately some good that will come to me through the presence of every single person in my life, whether I like them or not, whether they're kind to me or not, whether they seem as a benefic force in my life or not. Even the most malefic and evil people out there meddling, okay? I believe and I affirm that they are doing good for me in my life somehow, and ultimately I will see them as having been a golden link in my experience and in my overall good, as again we remember everything is now working for me according to my highest good, including all of those who may seem to be working against me in this energy. Thoughts are our thoughts, our mental state, you guys, what's going on in our mind are so significant in terms of our own frequency and energy body, and therefore what we're attracting and what our experiences are looking like. If we can reframe our minds along these lines, we also reframe our frequency, which prevents, okay, a lot of the more disastrous or detrimental manifestations of this energy that would seek to create abrupt dynamic change in order to do something good for us, but may not, you know, it can just smooth things out for us and create less resistance to whatever we got going on when we can reframe our mind and switch our energy body to be more compatible with these frequencies. Lastly, another one that I really love and that has helped me a lot, I surrender the burden to the Christ within and I go free. It does nothing for us to dwell on and to worry about and to ruminate about things that we can't control, people that we can't control, things that, you know, we have no say or consideration over. The best way to handle any situation like that is, again, to surrender it to a higher power within you and to do your best to let go of the burden, not dwell on it, not ruminate about it, but instead trust that it is being handled on a higher level in the way that is ultimately assisting the facilitation of the manifestation of our highest good. So those are some things that help me. I have them written on my whiteboard back here. I'm gonna take a picture of it and post it in my Facebook group. So if you wanna see those affirmations written out, that is where you will find those as well. But I really do feel like the more that we can reframe our mental reframe our mental framework about stuff going through this period of time, despite the challenges that may come up. I really feel like that is honestly like a part of the lesson. Also, it's like, how are we going to respond to this type of stuff? Like, are we going to let it like totally break us down and beat us down and, you know, make us feel like weak and insignificant and at the whim of universe? Or are we going to allow it to inspire us into personal greatness, to take back our personal power, and to create and generate active, productive, beneficial change in our lives in alignment with, you know, who we really are, what we really stand for, what we really truly love, value, what's important to us, and who we are meant to become. So that's what I'm going to say, you guys. I'm going to stop talking now. This has been an extremely long report. If you guys stuck with me till the end, thank you. Let's grab a synchronicity card now. We're just going to get some advice and guidance from universe as we go through this process, this energy plays out. What would it benefit us to know? What else should we keep in mind? What's just some guidance or advice that can benefit us? It says, look at what it says, you guys. What does it say? It says, watch your thoughts. Because we're about to find out that we are way more powerful in terms of our conscious creation of our own reality than we ever thought. Welcome to the age of Aquarius. Watch your thoughts. Looking diligently lest any man fail of the grace of God. Hebrews 12:15. Be diligent and watchful over your thoughts. Let God's Spirit guide you and direct you. Continue moving forward. Victory will be yours. Things are moving in the right direction, you guys. A caravan of cars headed to the promised lands. Lost opportunities regained. There may be some battles that we got to fight to get there, but masculine energy, as long as it is in alignment with the divine masculine and the spirit of freedom and truth, authenticity, this is what's being supported right now, you guys. So watch your thoughts and full steam ahead. That's what I gotta say. I hope you guys liked it. Hope there was something useful in here for you. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think they would be into this as well. Leave me comments in my comment section below. I'm so grateful for all of you guys. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate knowing what's going on with you. If you're having experiences that line up with what I'm talking about in these reports, please let me know in the comment section below. Like I said, I'm going to post this whiteboard and the affirmations at the bottom in my Facebook group. If you want to know what that says, that's where you can find that. That is linked in my description. And come back with me on Friday, you guys. We will have a weekend video out and we'll have a lot more Uranus energy to talk about and some other things playing out. So I will be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it. I will see you next time, guys. And until then, have a beautiful new moon and take care. Bye.